I'm Fritz Nelson with Information Week, and I'm here with Peter Badger. He is the CEO and co-founder of Framehawk, and you guys aim to change the way enterprise applications are written for mobile devices. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, Fritz. So we're actually finding that the consumer adoption of mobile apps is different from enterprise massively, and there's a couple of core reasons for that, and it's mainly because of the need to access legacy content. But secondarily, it's about security. We find a lot of the enterprise adoption is stalled by the fact that you can't actually secure the applications on these devices simply and easily today.
And some of the ways that people do a deployment of an enterprise application, they write it for the mobile platform.
Yep.
A lot of companies use VDI, virtual desktop, and I guess maybe rewrite the app as a more web-enabled app might be another way to do it as well. How is which one of those is Framehawk's approach?
Yeah, well, so I think from our side, we're about 3.5 years old. Spent the past 2 years after bootstrapping, bringing the product to market with customers. And so through co-development, we actually found out there are advantages to different technology approaches. So native development, HTML5 is all about the user experience. People love it.
Right.
Native, bring your own device, it's rich and luxurious. VDI was all about security. It was about existing applications. It was about cheap, not spending so much money getting apps to the devices. And actually what we found out as we actually built our platform out was you could marry them both. So actually what we allow the enterprise to have is secure content behind the firewall, existing and new applications, and then using native techniques on the edge device, workflow, the touch, the usability that the user loves, and marrying those two actual concepts gives you the full experience. Mobile first, secure, for the enterprise, access any application content you already have.
Now we'll get into a bit of a demo here in a second, but how are you doing that?
A lot of secret sauce. So I fundamentally believe that you can't be in this game today, secure mobility, unless you have a protocol.
So you have your own protocol.
We built our own protocol. So the DNA of the firm, my co-founder Stephen, one of our core IP guys, both ex-NASA, physicist, mathematician, and they took techniques where they were actually assembling data streams from orbital satellites back from space to this planet. They took techniques they'd used in the past and did it on this planet with computer screens and pixels and actually across the device.
Well, without giving away too much of your secret sauce, what's actually happening? Are we passing just screen images of what's on the back end?
Yeah, so I think to dumb it down, we're called Framehawk because of the frame buffer. Okay. We take what is essentially a remote screen image on the virtualization stack, and we have IP which is able to take that across any network, public, private, public includes mobile, any distance across the planet, and reassemble perfectly on the end. It's all about touch response. So when I show you the demo, you'll see when you click, it responds, no matter where you are on the planet, no matter what network you're on, from whatever distance. And that's the key to this thing.
And one final question before we get to see some of this in action. Some amount of code writing must have to happen to get the user interface to be what you described before as native mobile user experience like.
Yeah, and so there's flavors. So out of the box, you have a product I'll show you in a second called the Launchpad, which requires no development. Just take existing applications, map some gestures, off you go. Click, respond, work within that existing application interface. You can then do a thin layer, spend 2 or 3 days, dress it up a bit, make it a bit more touch-friendly, a skin on top of a legacy application. Or you can go the full hog, build from scratch, mobile first, rich, luxurious, spend 3-4 months, 2 or 3 developers, and really build for mobile first the full flagship view of what you're trying to present to the user.
And that middle ground, what am I using to write?
We provide a bunch of libraries incorporated into the iOS, Android SDK, and basically skin applications using it.
Okay. Well, let's take a look.
Yeah, so actually what I'm going to show you here is the Launchpad.
Okay.
And we have the day in the life of financial services client. So the concept here is I've launched the application, I'm given a menu of services I already know and love. So let's check out the market news. This just gives you access to, public websites, blogs, the stuff you read in the morning. And then once you've had a look, there's some market data, some, Microsoft has some news. Let's check it out. So clicking on this one gives you a market data application. This actually is a thick, rich Windows application. When you click, it responds. And the whole point here, this is a Windows app.
This is not like my typical VDI experience where I'm waiting.
No, the entire reason for the IP we built was to make it so it was it was there instantly. And the beauty is if you could rebuild your Windows applications in native, it would cost you a couple $1 million, take a very long time, but you still wouldn't get the performance you're seeing right here. Because when you click and you actually interact, it responds. And all that data could not be passed down the mobile network as quick as we are doing via our proprietary protocol. So we've shown you a bit of market data, bit thick Windows app, Salesforce, Jive, Basecamp. There's a lot of these tools the enterprise now is starting to adopt. There is a concern that if you use SaaS services and you click on a document or some data and you download to the memory of the device, it'll get compromised. So we actually allow corporations to interact with SaaS services from behind the data center firewall. And that means any click to any document you bring down is actually behind the firewall, never reaches the device.
I notice this looks a little different than it looks like Salesforce, but you've kind of redone some of the menus there.
Yeah, so actually I'll show you where we start to skin Salesforce. And in this case, we were able to show you a left-hand menu set, which starts to make it more touch-friendly. And this is what clients are starting to do. They've got a legacy application. The users know the core interface. Let's just make some of the buttons easier to get to and make it more easy to interact with.
Sure.
That's part of the key.
Okay.
And so, as you see, I've got multiple services open, and I start to go between the sessions, interact, check out some news, look at some market data, check out a graph is working, a client calls, enter a call, et cetera, and then even, secure email. So the goal really is the launch pad, out of the box, get your users working now. Because I don't know you, Fritz, but I'm tired of my friends and colleagues in the enterprise moaning about no access to their applications on these devices. And I think there's a big barrier to adoption perceived by the enterprise. And I think our goal was make it easy.
Right. So
make it simple.
In some ways, then, it's not just about making your enterprise apps more mobile friendly. It also kind of serves as a bit of a mobile device management.
Yes. It avoids or obviates the need for mobile device management for your applications today.
Right. Now, I know you can only show us some things because you've got examples of customers who are using this probably that you can't show us. But so that's a good flavor. But I see you've got social and web stuff here, Jive, Yammer. You just showed us email. What do you have going there?
So, another example here is
corporate internet.
Yeah, so the corporate internet's a classic application.
Do they still call it that? The internet?
I think they do. I think they do. And so what you have here is everybody's built an intranet over 20 years, and they've all got all their key stuff on it, and there's no way to access it. So the ability actually to even have the usual Office flavors of format, so you can bring it up, interact with it. We give you fine-grained mouse control, a lot of these applications. Remember, they weren't necessarily built for mobile first.
Right.
So yeah, I'm showing you a flavor of the get your existing application portfolio. You've invested millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in these applications, get started. And then once you're comfortable, start to rebuild your applications for mobile first on the platform with security and usability you're expecting as a consumer, frankly.
Right. Now, one concern I have, and it's the same concern as I would have for VDI, would be obviously you have to be connected.
Yeah. So I think we're listening to customers. I think a lot of our, I believe we're going from the internet to the Evernet.
Evernet.
So we're all constantly connected to some public-private network to some device. I don't know about you, but I'm always on a device.
Yes.
On 3G, 4G, LTE, or Wi-Fi, or on the corporate WAN. So I think actually we're seeing the time that we are in a position where we don't have connectivity slim down. And so I think from our perspective, the market is massive. If you want to do serious business stuff, you need a network connection anyway, is our adage. If you want to read a research document, then, download it locally, and, the certain content you can do offline anyway.
Right.
But I think as the market matures, we'll start to incorporate MDM into the capability for the odd offline use case. We'll listen to customers, or we'll partner with the existing providers.
Okay, and one last thing. I know you can't talk about specific customers, but can you give us some examples of what some of your customers are doing?
Yeah, so I can talk publicly about one customer,
okay.
UBS, who are a big Swiss bank.
Yes.
And so UBS are leading the mobility dialogue, fundamentally. They used our platform to basically create a mobile-first application for their wealth management division. So they have financial advisors, high net worth individuals, and they sit there with their beautiful iPad app, show you your portfolio, show you some research, some market data. And really, they've actually brought together 4 or 5 legacy applications. They've stitched it at the glass with an amazing mobile-first interface. It's beautiful. It's stunning. And I think we're seeing some companies starting to do that at the outset. And the key to UBS was it took about 6 months. It is as beautiful to use as a consumer app that we're all used to using on the other side of the fence. And by the way, all the critical data is all behind their firewall.
Sure.
So no concern at all about data leakage.
Great. Peter, thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.